the question of an untouchable research program. In my preface, I have written about it already. It is a word with bitter irony already attached to it. The word is a criminal word. The Prevention of Atrocities Act is fundamentally based on the criminality of the name untouchable. And yet, it exists. So what is the criminality of the word? The criminality of the word is to practice untouchability and treat someone as untouchable, and to most finally or summarily to address someone as an untouchable. And that untouchable can be a caste name. Yeah? Any name. So untouchable with a capital U, where the capital is not the capitalization of nobility, it's the capitalization of the crime itself. And yet, untouchability is a practice. It is a practice involved in the structures of society. And like all practices, it goes beyond the formal declaration of what is legal and what is not legal, what is legitimate and what is not legitimate, what is part of the constitutional law and what is outside. Practice necessarily is either greater or lesser than a constitution. It has to be everywhere. Because practice is dispositional. Practice is our everyday million little things that we do. Either we are more than our forms in which we live, or we are much less and we fall far short of the forms in which we live. So if the Constitution is a great form, we are either more than the Constitution or less than it. We are never the same as the Constitution. No one is. You have to always test in the lives that we live. That is it more, is it less, or is it sometimes this, or sometimes the measure of our lives against the Constitution. So one measure that I've talked about, reservation is a measure. Not just for the question of it being used for a certain compensation, structural compensation for disadvantages which are long held structural disadvantages of a part of the population. It is as much a test for society to be able to bear and live with it in terms of egalitarian dispositions. So of course upper caste will not have reservations, and the different castes, OBC and the Dalit castes, will have reservation. And that will mean upper castes are not the same as the Dalit castes. I mean, that is the fundamental point. But in a society which is an entire society with reservation as part of that society, as part of its political constitution and policy, the question is, the test is that whether the society, including its upper caste members, are able to live that life of the politics of reservation, and live not just unhappily, cringing, guiltily, or which way that guilt explodes into atrocity, violence. No, live with it positively, affirmatively. That is the test. I've called it a revolutionary test. So we have to differentiate between what I've called the declaration of equality and the dispositional forms of equality. So in that, the question of untouchable, it is a very brutal proposition that I have to offer you through this book. And it's there in the preface, but the introduction is an elaboration of it. It is this, that while the untouchable, that is the one who belongs to those caste names which are now criminalized, and rightly so, and which are also socially meant to be completely nullified. That is part of Ambedkar's project of annihilation of caste. Even if that is expressed in the law, untouchability not only carries on as it does in practices, there is an untouchability attached still to the research program that I started with talking about. So when we say an untouchable research program, it is the research program which remains untouchable. That is, Ambedkar as a research program remains, well, divided between its touchability and untouchability. Where? Here, in the university. So the discourse of the university practices a certain untouchability. This is the point of the title. Of course, it's a title which is, I could have, for instance, put a single inverted mark there, untouchable, but that would be protecting myself. I could have said Dalit research program. Of course, yes. But if I said Dalit research program, I would be fooling myself that this Dalit research program has won its actual battle in the discourse of the university, because that battle is still on. Hence, I said untouchable research program, not the untouchables research program, mind you. Not at all, because that would be atrocious, literally atrocities. No, the research program by formally all of us, citizen students, citizen researchers, remains divided between its touchability and untouchability. Just like Ambedkar is being divided more and more towards a certain formal touchability, but a real untouchability still. And that, in my introductions, I have tried to explain through the different moves that the discourse of the university makes, both with regard to its what I've called liberal bad conscience, कि बिना अम्बेडकर के चल भी नहीं सकता, लेकिन its terrible Brahmanical, I've called it the cavernous Brahmanical belly.